Okay. All right. Okay, give me a minute. Strange.
Something's not working.
Possible for you to check if it's streaming?
On your page?
Oh, it's
live on my...
It's live, it's live.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, okay, give me a minute. A lot of things to do. Okay, this is the link. Oh my gosh. You see if this is working? Yes, it's working. Okay.
Okay, let me copy and paste.
Okay, by the way, it's already live. So
yes, hi everyone.
Okay, parents, give me a minute while I also stream it into our Facebook group. Yeah, so that it's easier for you as well.
All right, it's showing on my pages.
Okay, let's start. Okay, hello parents. This is Coach John here from Learning Out of the Box, and thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, so as you know, this year is a very special year for me, and of course for you if your child is taking PSLE this year. Likewise, my eldest child is also taking PSLE this year. Yeah, so I've committed myself to giving maximum value to you for the fact that you are in our Facebook tribe. Yeah, so along the way, if you are a parent like me who also teaches your child, be it math, science, mother tongue, English, or whatever, yeah, and you realize that Singapore's school curriculum is actually not that easy, especially for us parents who have to juggle both work as well as academic, as well as coaching of our kids. Yeah, so that is the reason why I am presenting to you a PSA collection to cover not just on math, but also on other subjects as well, so that you can also get all the help you need to be a better teacher for your own kids. So today we have Teacher Lup Wai. Hello, Lup Wai. Hello,
Hi
Lup Wai.
everyone.
Hi, yeah, so, okay, so would you be able to share with us what topic you are going to cover today?
Yes, today I'll be covering 3 ways to help your child with primary school science. So my son last year was in PSLE, so this year he's in Sec 1. So I can understand those parents who have PSLE kids this year, how anxious it will be. And
Yes.
what can we parents do to help our child more and to support them better?
Awesome. Yeah, just before you share with us your background so that the parents can understand you better, and also knowing that you are a parent as well, I think that also makes you different. Yeah, so parents, okay, so today we are covering on PSLE science, but again, it's not just on physics science per se, but also from P3 to P6 block. Okay, so if you have any question, please feel free to comment in the Facebook page in the comments box so that we can also answer your questions. And if you know of anyone who can benefit from this video or sharing, do just click on the share button so that you can share, and then more people can benefit from this sharing. Okay, over to you, Lup Wai.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Yep. I'll be sharing about 3 ways to help your child with primary school science. And John has mentioned that how can we really help our children in science? And I understand that a lot of us don't really follow the syllabus that the children are actually working on now. But on the other hand, we can still, as a parent, support them in a different way on top of academic stuff, right? And let me share with you my screenshot, my PowerPoint slides.
So Lup Wai is going to share her slides with you. Again, the more you ask, the more you learn. And I think at the end of the day, we really want to make sure that this sharing benefits you so that you can help your child. So if you have any questions, just post in the Facebook page comments box, and then I will copy and paste into our Zoom chat so that Lup Wai can take on at appropriate times. Okay, back to you, Lup Wai.
All right, thank you. So let me share a slide, what I'll be talking about today so that you can see what I am talking about. All right, let me share over here. Oops. So I'll be sharing this slide that shows you what I'll be talking about today. So a lot of times I will ask, right, the parents especially, do you enjoy studying science when you were in school? So if you're watching, maybe you can type in the comment box, all right, and let me know or let us know whether you enjoyed studying science when you were in school. Because when you understand this part, you will understand better about your child as well. So I'll give you a little bit time on that.
Worry, you can just continue because there's this lag between Facebook Live and Zoom. Yeah, so along the way, I think because this is an interactive session, so when they answer, I will just find at appropriate times and to interrupt you and then to let you know what is the update. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. The next thing is when something works or doesn't work, do we use science to explain to our child? So to get them involved and get them to relate to it. Right. So before I jump in further, for those of you who know me the first time, I'm Lup Wai, I'm mom of two, right? I'm a science tutor and I lecture in Polytechnic as well. So these are my two kids. And how I got into science tutoring is I love science myself. All right, basically because I like to explore and I like to find out how things work as well. And I also get my children involved in whatever I do, right? Or whenever they have questions, we'll try to find it together. All right, if I have answer, of course, I'll get them, I'll let them know the answers, how to, and also guide them on how to find the answer as well, rather than just telling them the answer straight away. And of course, when they are younger, there are a lot of all these kind of fun experiments that we can do to get them more connected to what they are learning. So a lot of times I also check in with my child's feeling, my children's feeling, and my students' feeling as well, whenever we have lessons, especially after lessons as well. So before lesson, I'll ask them how's the school? And after lesson, what do they learn? How do they feel about the lesson? Because to me, I need to understand what they're feeling in order to understand better how I should pursue with guiding them and supporting them as well. So next thing is I'm going to guide you on 3 ways on how to support your child, right? Along the way, I also I will drop in some tips on how to do it academically as well. So the first thing is value their questions. A lot of times they will randomly ask you questions, right? Sometimes we feel like, oh, these don't really relate to the syllabus. So I also don't know how to answer, or I may just randomly answer a short one to my child. A few times I also fall into the kind of trap where my child asks me, Mommy, why some jellyfish is poisonous, why some is not? Why is there steam? People say the steam, when you see the kettle boiling, you see the steam and all those things. Then I will like, I will try to give the answer straight away, or I will say, I don't know. Right, especially when you're busy. So to me is, how can I help my child further to find the answer? How to guide them to be more curious and more curious towards finding that answer as well. Not just finding the final answer, but also the process of it, enjoying the process of it. Right. And valuing their questions is more of like you acknowledge their question. Right. A lot of times, these questions are actually related to what they are studying also. And helping them to find the answer and guiding them along can actually lead them into curiosity, all right, and to nurture their curious mind. If you do not understand like how it works, let me show you an example whereby I have a student who asked me, like, teacher, where does the milk come from? I was like, good question. So where do you think the milk come from? I think the milk come from supermarket. So even though they are in primary school, we expect them to know that, okay, milk actually come from the animals. But to my surprise, or to your surprise, she doesn't understand that the milk comes from the animals. She thought that milk comes from the supermarket. So from there, I'll lead her on how to figure out and how to find the answer. Now, can we do a search together? Because I teach online, so we can do the search together. Let's find out where does the milk come from? And then from there, when we do the search, then she realized that, oh, what? Cow has milk? Goat has milk? I was like, nah, now you find the answer. So now, where does the milk come from? Oh, from the cow, from the goat. So this is how we lead them on, and they were like surprised to find out, oh, that's the answer. Oh, this is how I find the answer. So that leads me to the second tip, right? Which shows you how can you explore and find the answer together. So it is sounds very easy, but it's not easy to take action on, right? Because after work, we are so tired. You just like, you feel like taking a break. And all this we will expect, like, they're really learning in school, they're really learning in tuition. And why am I still helping my kid answering all these questions? I was there as well. But I'm also very conscious on how do I reply my children? How do I reply my students? But of course, as a teacher, you will turn on that switch where you have to answer the question. But we also have to be aware that we don't just give the answer, but how to lead them to find the answer. Then as a parent, we tend to switch off. It's like, I'm tired today, right? Maybe you should you go and figure out, answer yourself. But they will be lost. How? How do I do it? So if you remember, when your child's first step, do you remember how do you guide them to walk? They don't know what is walk. They don't know that they need to use their 2 legs to walk. We are the one holding them, guiding them how to walk. Same thing for here. When they are learning something, they do not understand how to find the answer. They do not know how themselves to find the answer and how to source for it. So it's our responsibility to guide them and to support them, how to explore and find the answer together. While finding the answer, we also lead them on to find other information as well, right? And also while finding the answers, they will be more curious. They will trigger certain words in the answer, will trigger them to find out more. And certain things or object in the answer may trigger them to find out, oh, I would like to know more about this. I would like to know more about that. For example, when we learn about water cycle. Water cycle is sounds very easy topic, but it can be a very complex topic as well. The thing is, when we learn about water cycle in the textbook, it's about the whole nature that we are learning. So it's about the sea, the clouds, the rain. The thing is, how can we guide the children to lead them and tell them that this can relate to the water that we are drinking? Right. I have a lot of students who have problem trying to link this to or relate this together. So what I did during one of the classes, I literally brought my phone there with the screen on. All right, I start to boil the water. That's where they see steam coming out, they see water boiling, and placing a metal plate right in front, they see the water droplets, they see condensation. So that's how they relate how the whole thing works. And at the same time, I will get them to bring out a hot cup of water, provided the adult is there or they can handle. Otherwise, a warm cup of water. Cover it. And after that, I ask them to observe what is underneath the cover after a few minutes. Then they realize, oh, this is water droplets. Oh, this is how it formed. I said, oh, this is amazing. Some of them were like, I've never noticed this. I take it as, we all take all these things as nature, as per daily life, that we didn't really realize that it actually can be used to teach. Or maybe we can, very commonly my friend will always say that we always take things around us for granted because it's always there. Right? Actually, all these little moments are teachable moments where you can guide your child. Right? And another example is when you buy hot drinks. Starbucks. Take note of the cover. So there'll be 2 holes. Why is it when I cover one hole, the water can't come out? Why is it when I let go of the other hole, the water starts flowing out? So you may not use the right keyword, but at least let them understand how the things work. So it makes them, in a way, started to get curious about the nature of the things around us. And that's how they start to get curious about those questions that they are answering. And get them curious to find out the answer. Rather than, why should I study all these things? It doesn't relate to me. This is a common problem with a lot of students. It doesn't relate. So I don't see the point of studying so much. I don't see the point of studying so hard. Right? And I do have students telling me, teacher, why should we study all these things for? I'm not going to be a scientist. I don't want to be a scientist. Why should I study all this? Sometimes I'll ask them, all right, if you don't study all this, how are you going to make sure things work around you? For example, if you have a clothes, you have your uniform, you want to wear your uniform tomorrow, and you're now wearing the last piece of uniform. The rest of the uniform are in the laundry basket. How can you make sure that you have your uniform to wear tomorrow? Clean uniform. So I'll just wash it. How do you make sure it dry up fast? Then they will start thinking, I'm not sure. I can use the washing machine. Okay, what if your washing machine break down? I'll use my hand to wash. Then how do you make sure it's dry up fast? What are the ways you can make it dry faster? Then they were like, oh, yes, it's the same as what we are studying now. How to increase the rate of evaporation, how to get the clothes to dry faster. Exposed surface area, having the wind there, having the sun there. So this is how they relate. And then they realize that, oh, now I know why I need to study all this, because all these relate to what I'm doing it now. And all these relate to what I am, how I live my life in a way. Right? And the next thing is digestive system. You can also understand why do you feel bloated sometimes? Why do you say the word indigestible? Some students say undigestible. Right? The first thing is, I don't mind you're using the wrong word, but I want you to understand the concept first. I want you to understand what's going on, get interested. And then slowly I'll lead you on to use the right word. Right? I do have a student also agree with me. Teacher, I agree. Why do I need to use the right word now when I don't even understand the topic? I don't understand how the water cycle works. What is evaporation? Why must I use that word? So I'm also listening to what the students are talking about, what the students are expressing based on their learning. And then from there, I try to figure out like, how can I make the learning easier? And how can I make the learning relatable and more interesting for the children? All right, so first thing, value their questions. Second thing, with that question, explore together to find the answer. So they feel that, oh, I'm supported. I know how to find the answer. I know how to lead, how to figure out things. In that way, you also build their self-esteem, self-confidence. Right? They feel like, oh, I'm responsible now. I know how to do what I need to do. And the last tip that I have is let the children make the mistakes. Right? As a parent, I can also understand when you see mistakes, a lot of wrongs on the worksheet, you feel like, uneasy. It's not perfect. Right? It's not good enough. And then you try to correct it. But to me is after that, I realized that if I correct it, make it perfect all the time, my children always get full marks back. What about the exams? How do they handle when it comes to exam? So when the homework is sent to them, given to them, let them do it on their own. Let them make the mistakes. From there, you can gauge which are their weak points. They themselves also understand where are their weak points and what kind of mistakes they should avoid, what kind of mistakes that they always make. Right? You get to analyze, you do the analysis with him or her, right? Instead of trying to make sure he get perfect or scolding the kid for why is it not getting it correctly. Right? As a parent, we always want the perfection. We have very high expectation, especially to our children. Especially to our children. We always have different expectation between our children comparing to other people. Right? The expectation to our children are always higher because we know what we have given them, and we know that they should be able to do it since we have already given that privilege to them. But we do not understand what exactly they are going through or what exactly that they are facing. So let them learn the mistake. Let them have the kind of feeling when they make the mistake. What do they feel? How do they feel? Let them understand, but also at the same time, pull them up from the mistakes. Because making mistakes also let them feel like, okay, if you fall down, how are you going to get up? You don't put the cushion all around your child so that he or she is so super protected. One day the cushion will be gone. And how is your child going to stand up on his own? So that's always one thing that I remind my children. Mistakes doesn't mean that you fail. Mistake is to let you realize that you have learned something and how can you get out from it. At the same time, it also boosts their self-esteem and self-confidence as well. I make mistake now. Of course, my confidence level will drop. But at the same time, I am responsible to avoid that mistake. And how can I avoid this mistake and not make it again? So the next time, if I get it correct, my confidence level go up. At the same time, they know that, oh, I can avoid this mistake. I can recover from it. I fall, I can stand. I don't give up. So I always tell them not to give up. So the word give up actually stop you from learning. All this little switch or little mindset shift is very critical in a way that we will not see it now, but actually it affects how they study and how it affects their learning as well. right? Everyone is afraid of mistakes. For example, what is the last thing that you did today or yesterday that stopped you from doing it? Or what is the thought in your mind that you wanted to do something, but you don't dare to do because you're afraid of making the mistakes? So when you have the thought, I'm afraid of making that mistake, I don't dare to do, I don't dare to step out. So you never know how you can proceed on or move on. Same for the children. If I know that, oh, if I make mistake, my parents scold me, or my teacher will scold me, or my friends may laugh at me. If they have these thoughts, they don't dare to move a step further. My son when he was in kindergarten, he was laughed at for making mistakes. So in the Chinese spelling, he scored 9 out of 10. So the friend was laughing at him. He's like, you're so stupid. You make the mistake. You can't even score full marks. So from then on, he hates that subject. He hates going to school because he's very scared of making the same mistake and being laughed at. So you can see the impact of how a child sees a mistake. So we have to lead them on such that we need to let them know that making mistakes is not the end of everything, that they can move on and avoid the mistakes the next time. Right, so these are the 3 main points that I want to share with all the parents here. It is very simple. It sounds very simple, it looks very simple, but it's not easy to do it, especially with our busy lifestyle. Right, and when children asking you questions during your peak busy period, you tend to like brush it off. And that may kill a little bit of their curiosity after that. And I hope these 3 little steps, little tips, then can help you with you and your children and building their curiosity as well. Yep.
Okay, thanks for why. Yes. Okay. Actually, I got a few questions because when you are sharing, I think I'm also reflecting to myself and how I teach my girls primary school science. It's definitely not easy. I mean, it doesn't mean that if you know the science words, yeah, see, I'm trying to find the right word already. Yeah, because my struggle was, even if I know, or I may roughly know what's going on, but I think the requirement is looking at the right word with the right structure as well as the right concept being shared. Yeah, that's making it very tricky for the children. Yeah, and I like the part whereby you mentioned that even though we may not know the right concept or word, but it's more like exposing our children to science using whatever we know, and then trying to bridge and narrow the knowledge gap as much as possible so that it is easy for them to transit into primary school science requirement. Yeah, so like for example, for us parents who are not trained in primary school science, right? So how do we actually help our children to bridge across to what is required in school? I mean, this is a genuine question because this is always a burning question I have in my head. Why is it so hard for the children to answer? And even though they know what's going on, but because they can't structure it in the right way that they want, marks not given.
Yeah, so the way that the local schools are marking is they must have those keywords inside. But the thing is, they may understand how the things work, but they do not know how to structure it, or what's the step 1, step 2, step 3. What's the steps that are involved? So that's why they feel like confused. Do I say step 3 first, step 2 first, or step 1 first? So they feel like it's all jumbled up. The pieces of puzzle is not fixed. So which is why they have trouble using the right phrase or words to structure their sentences. I have even tried like giving the keywords. So this question, I have these keywords. Can you use these keywords to form your answer? Even with the keywords, they struggle with trying to explain it out. They roughly understand in their brain, but they can't really like fully understand yet in a way that they can structure it out. What's the step 1? What's the step 2? What's the step 3? It's very similar to baking.
Could you share with us some examples, like maybe because we are parents from P3 with P3 kids all the way to P6 kids? Yeah, so I think for parents who is very new, I can almost guarantee that they have no idea what is coming towards them. Yeah, because this is something that I don't know, and I thought it's so easy to teach. Once I have that book, I can teach well. But when my child's exam paper came back, to my horror, though I thought that she's right, but the marker thinks that she's wrong. Yeah. So could you give us some examples, like for P3, one example, then P4, P5, so that the parents can start to understand the kind of requirement that our children needs to present the right answer to get the marks that they deserve.
Okay. All right. If you notice, right, the P3, okay, P3 to P6, the topics for the science, right, it's actually they are one level ahead of each, one level on top of each other. So for example, P3, you learn about animals, classification, right, all these animals. And for P3, it's more of getting them involved into, getting them immersed into the science subject, get them to understand the basic stuff. What is living thing, what is not. So the understanding is more of like teaching them how to understand the basic stuff, not so much of the how to structure the sentence and all those things yet. But when it comes to P4, you can see a little bit of that structure coming up, right? And in P4, for example, you'll start learning about, okay, P3, you're learning about living things, plants, animals. Then P4, you learn about their system. You have the plant system. So you see, it's another level on top of the living things that you are learning before. Right, and then you start to learn how to structure all those sentences. Plant system has what? So the plant system has like water carrying tube, food carrying tube. So you know the exact word to use. Like you have hands, you have eyes, you have nose. So these are the things that so-called the fixed words that they can use. I will use the word fixed word because this is a basic words that easily understandable by the kids. Right, when it comes to P5, if I still talk about plants, I'm talking about reproduction. So you know the plant have this system, the water carrying tube, the food carrying tube, all right, transport system. When it comes to P5, they have the reproduction system. And you lead them to learn about how the plant reproduce. Right, P4 also, they have the life cycle. You learn about the plant's life cycle as well. So P5, one step further, learn about how they reproduce. And that's where you learn about slightly difficult word, more difficult word to apply on the question. And then all these keywords actually are available in a textbook. If you're struggling with, oh, what kind of keyword do I use? All these keywords are actually in the textbook, in a science textbook. So if you're wondering where do I find what keywords to use, read your science textbook. It may look very simple, but this simplicity is very straightforward. And you can actually find those tips and answers inside. The only thing is, how do I practice more? That's where most parents will use the assessment book to practice how to answer. So slowly you build on the keywords from P3, P4, P5. All right, P6 is where you really have to explain a lot with longer sentences, more keywords involved.
children who know the keywords and then they are not that equipped with sentence structuring. Yeah, because I realized that even though my child actually did finish the science assessment book, yeah, but I think she has difficulty structuring the sentence in a way that the marker wants. Yeah. So when a child comes to you, so how do you actually coach the child to be able to move on from just knowing keywords to proper sentence structure?
Okay, for the proper sentence structure, I will ask, like, I'll guide them, like, when you look at a question, what kind of topic is that? Right, from that topic, you'll start digging out all the information about that topic. Right, because I know what are the things I need to take out from the topic. For example, if I learn about, okay, this question about water cycle. So these questions about water cycle, I need to take out all the words from the water cycle. Then now you can visualize the water cycle, how it works. The part that a lot of children don't get to structure, don't know how to structure, is because they can't relate it to the actual question. So that's where they struggle with how to answer the question properly in a way. And then the next thing is identify the words in the question. Identify the words. What is the question asking for? What are the words they use? So the easiest way is, for example, if you're new, the easiest way is to guide the children to use back the words that they are in the question. So if there's, for example, if they're using material A, use material A. Don't change the word. Sometimes they see the picture, oh, it's a tray. I use tray A, rather than material A. So they get, when the teacher's marking, they get confused also. And then from that question, you try to dig out in a way they always use the word concept. Right? And then you start to answer with, if they ask you yes or no question, you answer that question. And then you identify what are the scientific facts of this to support your answer. Then when you answer with those scientific facts, right, that relate to this question, at the end of it, support it by relating back to the question. It's like hence or therefore this thing happened. So in a way, teacher will understand that, oh, you can understand what is happening. So I answer the question straight, directly, like yes or no. Right? They ask you why is tray A evaporating more? Right? You say yes. Why? Then you explain with the scientific facts using those words that are in the question. Right? Or because tray A has a bigger exposed surface area. Right? Therefore, the rate of evaporation will be higher. And from there, you link it back to the question, and more or less you will get the answer.
Thanks, Lup Wai. And I guess from my layman's point of view, there are various structures for various answers. So I think it's really there's too little time to cover that today. Probably next time, I'm just asking the parents who are with us right now, would you be keen if we can share some science questions examples, and maybe I think that one is easier for us to answer that and give you more clarity as well. If you are keen, just put a yes. Yeah. Okay. At the same time, I think there's a mom by the name of Cindy. She's saying that, yeah, there seems to be some form of standard answer to certain questions, and her solution that she said is to memorize them. What's your thought to memorize answers?
Okay, there are some that have a certain standard or template in a way. There are some template. But the thing is, even when I give that template, right, I tested that on some of the students. I give the template, but they don't know how to fill in the right words. Just like I mentioned, right, you have to use the words that they use in the question. So for example, if they ask you a certain question and then you straight away just memorize the template. Oh, the evaporation is like this, like this, like this, like this. So the evaporation will form clouds and then you form rain. but it doesn't relate to the question. So you have to know, you have to guide your child as well how to fit in the right word into that template also. So if you want to have that kind of easier way to teach.
When you say about some children have the templates, but they may not know how to how to use it. Yeah, I think this reminded me of okay, because I love ice cream, so I've tried to use different kinds of ice cream scoops. Yeah, so even though the ice cream scoops can be the best I can get, but sometimes I still find that it's quite hard to use it. Yeah, so I think okay, it may not be the best example, but I think what I'm trying to say is, while parents, some of you may have templates gotten from schools, gotten from friends, gotten from tutors. Please also spend some time to teach your child how to use them, and not just collect them and then just put one side, because your child needs time to learn how to use them effectively. Am I right? Now, why? What do you think? Or any more input for that?
Yeah, agree with you. I mean, we can give them all the template, we can give them all the keywords, but we also need to guide them how to answer them as well. So it's not just giving away all those things, but not guiding them along. It's like a very classic example that people always use is like, you can read a lot on how to swim. It's until when you go swimming that you will realize that actually I have to figure out how to really use the right way to swim. Right? Reading a lot how to swim doesn't mean that I know how to swim. So even though we have the template, we have the keyword, we have to practice with all those different questions to guide them on how to apply the right way, apply the template to the question in the right way. Yeah.
Awesome.
So any parents with any more questions? I hope I answer most of the questions.
Yeah. Okay, I think the parents are coming in because just now probably is dinner time. Yeah, now we have about 10 parents online with us. Parents, if you just join us, today we have Teacher Lup Wai, who is a science tutor, and she helps children to gain interest in learning science. And if you're wondering how is our sharing different from the rest, is okay, like for myself, I have my own network of tutors, but I choose to serve parents who teach their children at home. Yeah, and I don't want to just bring in any tutor in who do not speak my language. So what I'm trying to say here is I also want tutors to guide our children to love to learn. Yeah, which is why I bring Lup Wai on board, because she has her own kids, and nothing beats having a fellow friend who's a tutor and a parent who can relate to you, who can relate to my struggles, and who can understand my pain, yeah, in teaching my own kids. Yeah, so you can hear all the truth coming out. Yeah, so parents, if you have anything that you want to ask Lup Wai in terms of how you can coach your children in science, or even anything relating to the science part, please comment in the comment box in the Facebook page, because we only have about a few minutes more. Otherwise, we have to watch a replay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Maybe while waiting for the parents to chip in, maybe you can just do a wrap up. What are, like, based on your 3 pointers, so that the parents can understand what you have covered and gain their essence, even though they may have missed out 90% of the Facebook Live.
Okay. Yep. The 3 tips that I shared just now is the first tip is to value their questions. So it's very commonly when they come, especially in P3, the first time they're learning science. So they may come back with a lot of questions. So entertain them, all right, answer their question, acknowledge their question. The second tip is do the research together, right? Instead of giving them the answer, or just like you have the template, you have the keyword, instead of just giving them, guide them along how to get the structure of the question answer out. Guide them along on how to find the answer. Sometimes you have the answer there, but actually they don't really understand. They can't understand the in-depth of all this topic. It's just a very surface. They're touching on the surface only. If you realize, actually, our syllabus is very fast. Within 1 year, you have to study like 7 topics, right? It's very fast. So actually, they're only touched on the surface only. So you need to really go in depth to let them understand what exactly are they learning. So that's where they learn how to answer the question in a better format. So sometimes you give them the template, you give them the keywords, they can't answer because they don't really understand. They understand, oh, water cycle is like that, but they don't really understand in depth how it actually really works, right? Which is why you need to relate, because in the textbook is nature of water cycle, but in the test paper, they're asking about drying the clothes. They're asking about cooking the soup. So I can't relate that to this. So this is what I mean by you need to do the exploration together with your child. Third tip is let them make mistake. And from there, they will learn what kind of mistake they make. They learn how to avoid that kind of mistake. So mistake actually is not totally bad, right? But they have to, but if they keep making the same mistake, then something is very wrong. You need to figure out what's going on as well as a parent to help them, to get them up, right? So tip 1, value their question. Tip 2, explore together. And tip 3, let them learn the mistakes and guide them along how to avoid the mistakes.
To add on to the sorry, to add on to the tip of making mistake, yeah, I think as parents I can totally relate to what you say about sometimes it's easy to say that let our children make a mistake, but as a parent, when you see your kid making mistakes, I think how I can describe my feeling is there's this internal combustion going on that is waiting to make my body explode.
I totally get it. Yes,
yeah,
I have the same.
And you're trying your best, or rather, I am trying my best to really block off the negative emotion and trying to stay cool on the outside so that I do not explode, literally. Yeah. Parents, if you can relate to that, just put a me too, yeah, so that I know that I'm not alone. Yeah. At the same time, I think what I can share is while being a busy parent who have to work on my business as well as being very hands-on, I really need to be creative in a sense that I have to leverage on assisting family activities to talk to my children. Like for example, we do have breakfast or rather lunch and dinner, yeah. Because you do have to eat, your kids have to eat, the parents have to eat. So eat together and talk about something and discuss about it and make it into a family conversation. Yeah. So I think it's sometimes at first I think that it may be quite hard for some parents who are busy after a day's work, very tired, still need to set aside time to teach. Well, I think that one really can be very tough. Yeah. So I can totally relate to that. Yeah. So the example that I can offer to some parents who have coached before is just leverage on assisting family activities. For example, you're driving, you can talk to your kids as well. It's the same thing. You no need to drive and then talk to your kids separately. You can do this two together. That's what I'm saying.
Agree. Yeah, I think during I believe there are also moments where you will get to spend time with your children. So during that moments, you can actually plug in all these like conversations into talking about all those things that relate in relation to what they are learning, so that they can feel related and they will understand better on why should I learn all these things.
And to your surprise, sometimes a lot of the learning is done during occasions when you do not intend to teach your kids. Yeah. It's like, for example, maybe it's just a walk down to the market and then you talk about something and then that thing actually sinks into a child. And it's so easy compared to you having to spend half an hour to try to get something into your kid. from a textbook. Yeah.
Agree. And I will say that when the kids are younger, it's easier to get them interested because they are always very curious. And then, but when you're going to primary school, it's like, they feel like they're always chasing the results, which makes sometimes it turn them off. So that might affect how they learn as well. So we have to be always aware on that.
Yeah, so I think this really speaks about the importance of parents, not just being a parent to teach, but also a parents to maintain, sustain, and also to uplift the interest of learning. Yeah, because sometimes as a parent, I find that my children start to get less interested in learning after they go to school. Yeah, so okay, that's a parent's as an opinion as a parent. Yeah.
Yep, as a parent.
Yeah. Okay, so Lup Wai, thanks so much for being here because I know that you still have to attend to your own children. Yeah. Okay, so maybe what we can do is some parents are asking if we can do some like real science questions so that they can see how the sentence structuring applies to different kind of questions. Do you think we are able to do that?
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay, parents, if you have anything in mind, just comment in the comment box and then we'll check on that later. Okay, so some parents are asking how to get in touch with Lup Wai. Okay, I will post the link in the comment box. It's a Google form. So if you are keen to get in touch with Lup Wai for whatever reason, you can use the Google form. Yeah. I've also pasted the Google form link in the Facebook post of this Facebook Live. Okay, Cindy is saying, as a parent, I also don't enjoy teaching them when they start going to school. More fun to teach when they are younger. Haha.
I
High
know,
five.
right?
High five, parent
Cindy.
Cindy. Yes, high five. Yeah, high five between Lup Wai, John, and Cindy.
Yes.
Yeah, that one will be another conversation which should be taken offline. Yeah. Okay, Ken, Lup Wai, don't go out first. Okay, parents, have a nice day and wishing you all the best, especially for parents who teach. It's really hard for you because I'm in the same boat as you. So do take care of yourself while you are trying to take care of your little ones. Okay, so at 8:45, we are going to talk about how to schedule, how to do scheduling for our kids. So hang around, 8:45, I will come on board again. It'll be about 10 minutes. Yeah, so just stay around. Okay, take care. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.